Hi, and welcome to The Install. We're Paloma Contreras and Caroline Jadier, and this is where we talk about design, business, and the real life behind creative work. What's inspiring us, what's challenging us, and everything in between. Hey, Caroline.
Hey, Paloma.
It's so good to be together in person, especially on this amazing trip that we're on in England. We are currently recording in the King's Room at Beaver Castle in England, and it has been a really amazing experience to be able to view all of these beautiful places and to spend the night in such a storied castle, a place so rich in history.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm overwhelmed. It's really been a lot more than I anticipated. I think all of us.
Definitely.
When we walked in this room and they were taking us on a tour of the staterooms, they said, "And who's Paloma?" And Paloma raised her hand. They said, "Well, this is where you'll be staying." It's like we're staying in a museum.
No, it's crazy. So
I got so tickled. I was like, "What?"
It's literally in the day-to-day, it is a museum. And the King's Room or suite is comprised of a dressing room, a bedroom, and a sitting room. So it's rather grand. And what's really special about where we are is that these three rooms have original chinoiserie wallpaper dating to the 1700s. And the whole purpose of this trip was a chinoiserie trip for, people who appreciate chinoiserie in design. So to get to see these original papers hanging in their original location is incredible. But yes, I will say I was a little bit intimidated when they were like, this is where Queen Victoria stayed. And then upon my research, apparently multiple kings and queens up until Elizabeth II have stayed here. So, I'm not worthy, but
oh, yes, you are, girl. Yes, you are. If not you, who?
Who? That's true. If not me, then who? Someone had to stay here.
It truly is amazing. We're all a little dumbstruck by staying in these rooms. And I have, mine's a couple of doors down, and it has original chinoiserie wallpaper, very much like the one that was in, that I used, the Gracie wallpaper that I used in my Kips Bay room in Dallas. But it's just one room, and it's pretty fabulous too.
It's beautiful. There are no bad rooms. They're all so beautiful. We got to tour, I don't know, maybe like a dozen of the rooms, and they were all so special. I mean, it's incredible to see the original furnishings and details and these incredible wallpapers.
And the original colorways for me are what are really so spectacular.
I agree.
They're much more vibrant and in colors that aren't as popular today.
It's hard to tell if you're watching this on YouTube. Behind us, this looks like more of a muted green, but when this was originally hung hundreds of years ago, it would have been quite bright and bold. And what we found, you can really see it in the bedroom. I keep looking over there. There's such a concentration of these rich red and pink hues, bright greens that would have been made with arsenic, which is crazy to think. And then blues as well. I think I may have already said blues. Yellow is also a big color.
And they were explaining, I think you see this, there's a nice contrast whenever you go to Colonial Williamsburg and compare the homes of the more wealthy and then the homes of the tradespeople that they have as well. It's the poorer people, the working stiffs, just had white houses. There were no paints. And the wealthier you were, the more that you could afford color, and the more concentrated the color, the more greater the indicator of your wealth. And so these wallpapers then also coming from China, not only that, and the world was hungry for anything Asian and had to wait forever. I think they said 7 years for the wallpapers to come over. But also that it would then be an additional demonstration of wealth. And I think these castles, obviously, in the whole world at the time, these guys were at the top of the pecking order.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. Hearing the 7-year lead time was crazy because, we get some long lead times from time to time on these papers since they're hand painted. But now if we have the 7-year context, it's a lot shorter than that. So okay, that's great.
Well, tell us what your high and low have been this week.
Goodness, well, I think my high is easy. It's been on this amazing trip and being here with you and with our good friends Mark Sykes and Brian Huffman. We've made some new friends as well along the way that are in the group, and it's just so lovely being somewhere
Mhm.
as incredible as this with such a rich history, with so much visual inspiration and stimulation, but then to also share it with people who also appreciate the
Mhm.
same things, and then to
Mhm.
have some of your close friends on the trip has been super, super special. I mean, the low, I guess my jet lag, I haven't really gotten a
Mhm.
good night's sleep yet
Mhm.
after, what is this, our fifth night, fourth night? I'm still hoping to get like a full night's rest. But other than that, I mean, I've been taking lots of bus naps, as you know.
That's
Yeah.
right. Paloma's head keeps
Yeah.
as we're dotting along. Well, my high is similar, but a little bit different. And that is, I have had more deep belly
Mhm.
laughs in the past 5 days than I think I've had in the past 5 years.
Oh.
My tickle box has gotten turned over so many times that I've gotten to where I can't stop laughing. I get so tickled at things. And that's got to be so good for your soul to have those moments. They just, I think as you get older, you have a hard time finding things that make you really get tickled like
Mhm.
you do when you're in like seventh and eighth grade.
Right.
And I've had a lot of those this week. So it's been really great. And my bad week is that um I've wanted for years a Victoria sandwich, as you know.
She's been on a quest.
I've never had one. I watched the Great British Baking Show for is it a decade? I don't know. It's been a
It's been
really long
around.
time, and
Yeah.
they open with a Victoria sandwich. I've never had one. I've drooled over them, and I've set as a mission, Mark Sykes knows, I said, like, sometime during this week, I'm going to have a delicious Victoria sandwich. And I wanted the first one to be, like, delicious,
Hmm.
and it was good.
I think it was better than today's.
It was better than today's for
Yeah.
sure, but it wasn't what I know to be classic Victoria sandwich as they describe it on the Great British Baking Show.
What's missing? What's the
Okay,
differentiator?
here's the couple of things, and that is, 1, you want a whipped cream,
Okay.
a light whipped cream, and the ones that I've seen, it's just all swirled on there,
Hmm.
fluffy, and a nice, preferably homemade jam, but I'm not sure my palate would
Hmm.
distinguish, but not buttercream.
Hmm.
Buttercream is very dense,
Right.
and then once it gets cold, it's even more
Hmm.
dense. And then the sponge, I think, is supposed to be quite dry, but um but I think then it's kind of soaks in the moisture from the whipping cream and the jam
Oh,
or
okay.
what have you,
Yep.
and then it's sprinkled on the top. And so the ones that we had first had soaked up a lot. It was like they had been doused
It's very
in,
moist.
yeah, in a liquid.
Right.
So I think that was a riff on a
Hmm.
Victoria's sandwich, and some people call it Victoria sponge. And then the one that we had today was kind of,
It was
dry,
very dry.
very dry.
Very dry. It wasn't
And
super
buttercream. Yeah.
flavorful. Now, question, as you're describing this, I'm wondering, is the buttercream maybe a riff that they do if they know they're not serving it right
Sure,
away? Like
sure,
maybe
sure.
because it's being served at tea
Right.
later on, that
Yeah.
holds up better.
I
But I
mean,
mean, I guess they could refrigerate a cake with
whipping cream, you
whipping
can.
cream and that
But
would
you're not supposed to
hold.
that's probably why the one we ate today was dried out because it's been refrigerated,
Yeah.
made
Yep.
earlier
Yep. You're right.
and refrigerated because there's nothing that'll dry cake out faster than putting it in the
Hmm.
refrigerator. Um, so I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go someplace. I missed my opportunity at Claridge's back in London, but I need to find someplace, some jolly little tea spot that has. We haven't had a lot of time on
No.
our own yet, so
We are going to find you that Victoria
haven't
sandwich.
found it
I'm
yet.
determined.
Yes.
Well, I would say all in all, it's been a good week if those are
Oh
our
my gosh.
complaints.
It's been great. It's been great. And we still have several days left.
Yes, exciting. Well, the Met Gala just happened.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We're all going to kind of stay up and scroll that and I don't think anybody did. Like
No.
it took forever for those first looks to come in, and I was really kind of unimpressed.
Hmm.
So I just went straight on to
Yeah. With
sleep.
the time difference, it wasn't worth staying up.
Yeah. And I mean, in general, it's interesting. I'm always kind of trying to pull back and look macro, like what's going on in the world and what's happening in fashion is just one indicator of kind of where the general population is and everything. And I was really bored with it all.
Yeah.
And is that me or was the fashion really kind of boring? Like by and large, I didn't hate anybody's look, but basically everything I said looked pretty basic to me
Hmm.
for as far as Met Gala.
Right. Right. Yeah, I wasn't blown away by anything, but if you asked me to pick a favorite, I could come up with two or three that I needed, that I
Mm,
thought were tasteful and that worked with the theme. I know
mhm.
that that's sort of a debate. We talked about it with Mark, and it sounds like he doesn't care so much if he doesn't
If
think
it's
it's
on
necessary
theme.
to dress on theme, but I feel like that's kind of part of the fun. And, you don't want to ignore it completely. And I feel like there were some people who showed up and they were just like in a tasteful dress, and it's not really giving Met Gala. It's just like any other
You can show up
benefit.
in a tasteful dress at the Met Gala if you are going to wow me with it. If I'm gonna be like, "Oh my gosh,"
Right.
that is fine. You
Hmm.
do not have to be on theme. But if your dress is not jaw-dropping,
Hmm.
then it needs to be quirky on theme.
Well, and I also think there's a differentiator between being on theme and being in costume.
Sure.
So you don't have to be Madonna interpreting that painting with like people carrying her 4 trains and a ship on her head. You could still be on theme. Like, um, who did I really like? The British girl in the Dior dress that was like the water nymphs. The
Oh,
Claude Monet.
yes. Mhm. With
What's her
this
name? I can't think of her name.
cyclidin on her
Yes,
yes.
like, I thought that was
Gorgeous.
beautiful, and then the lotus here and
All
that
of that
gorgeous
is
color, it was just a
very
very simple
fabulous.
dress, it's all about the accessories, and it was a really beautiful and chic interpretation
Mhm.
of an iconic painting.
Right.
Like, that's
Fabulous.
great, you know?
Yes. Yes, and, it doesn't have to be literal. I like the people who went for an interpretation.
Mhm.
Those are not my favorite dresses, but I really appreciated it, like Kylie and Kendall, like Nike of Samarthrace and the Greek sculptures, those were beautiful interpretations. You can say what you will, but we were looking at some paintings today too that were from the 16, 17, 1800s
Mhm.
that were fairly risque.
I saw that with the woman with the exposed bosom.
Yeah, in the
Yes.
in the sitting room.
Yep.
And it's like, I feel like every generation is shocked by,
Mhm.
its provoca provocativeness or whatever, like everybody, and yet we do it over and over and over again. So I don't know. Those were not my favorites. I had a couple of favorites, but besides the green ones, what were your other ones?
I also thought it was also kind of an interpretation of artwork. Rosé, the K-pop singer, was
Oh
wearing a
yeah. Mhm.
beautiful Saint Laurent, uh, it's black
Mhm.
gown, sort
Mhm.
of strapless, cinched at the waist, and it had this beautiful, like, jewel encrusted bird,
Mhm.
and it was very reminiscent of the birds that he depicted in his work
Mhm.
often over the years. So I thought that was like
Yeah,
really chic, really
fabulous.
appropriate. I feel like if you're going to the Met Gala, and especially with this theme, you have to know a little bit of art history, and
Sure.
you should. You should know it, and you should, make a sort of nod to
Mhm.
something. So I really like that. And then I thought Julianne Moore looked beautiful in her
Gorgeous,
interpretation of
always. Tom
that John
Ford.
Singer Sargent painting.
Mhm.
That to me was a much more successful interpretation than Lauren Sanchez Bezos's. And I think she thought she really did something there, being like, I'm Mrs. X. I'm in on the joke. I'm going to be provocative. I already know that I'm pushing your boundaries, but it just fell flat for me. And something about it just, I hate to say it, but it just looked a little cheap.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. Um,
What about
and
you?
I
What were
think
your
that's all we
favorites?
really need to say about that. I think it's self-evident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, my favorites were not really on theme, even though I was
Mhm.
all gung ho about this theme. But I I am a student of Kate Moss from
Oh, yeah. I mean,
not really from the jump. When she was the waif in
mhm.
the Calvin Klein ads, I really wasn't here for it. But when she really came into her own, when she was going out there to what's the festival outside of London wearing
Oh,
the wellies,
Glastonbury.
Glastonbury, and dating the rock
Mhm.
star and smoking a cigarette on the street, all of that. Everything she wore, everything she did, I tried to emulate in some way, and my hair got really super blonde and all of that. And, as happens in their 40s, so many women kind of up until now have had to suffer the indignity of losing their beauty
Mm.
and much to the judgment of the rest of the world
Mhm.
and whatever you want to think about that and whichever way you want to go. I feel about that like I feel about breastfeeding. You do you, honey. Make yourself comfortable. Like, do this life the way that you feel
That's right.
comfortable. And if you want to do it, do it. And if you think people shouldn't do it, then definitely don't feel forced to do it.
Mhm.
Okay, and then as a culture, whatever. But I don't know if it's a real shortcoming and I'm a really shallow and small person. But seeing her kind of come back into her own, and she looked
She looked
amazing.
incredible.
Absolutely incredible. She's got that body back.
Mhm.
The face was snatched. The dress was fabulous. She was giving 50-year-old
Yes.
fabulousness because she was covered but revealing.
Right.
God, I loved it. I was just got so excited when I saw her. And then the chick, the model, Alexandra Consani, and she was
Mm.
in Demna, I think it was
Yes,
Balenciaga,
that was
the
incredible, the
white coat.
reveal.
And she really gave us our only really good reveal
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
evening. I love a good reveal on
Absolutely.
the
I mean, there's no better opportunity than on the Met carpet.
what are you doing if you're not revealing something? So I really love that. I thought that was great. The feathers coming up and the white coat was just incredible.
Mhm.
And to that point, Kylie Jenner had on a gorgeous coat into um, her Mercedes coming
Mhm.
out of, I think, the Mark Hotel or either the Mark or the Carlisle, which was fabulous. And we didn't see it on
No.
the
And
carpet.
that was the best part. I thought,
Yeah,
the coat was beautiful. It had some stunning embroidery on it, but
did.
then her interpretation of that sort of Greek statue situation, I thought wasn't as good as Kylie's.
Yeah,
Or
no, it
sorry,
wasn't.
Kendall's.
Yeah, as
I
Kindles.
thought
Yeah.
Kendall's was better. Kylie's was, again,
And
like,
then
a little over-sexualized.
yes, and when but she was in, what's his name? Schiaparelli,
Oh,
the guy for
yes. Yep,
Schiaparelli,
yep.
she's his darling,
He's from
and
Texas.
oh, is he?
He is from
He's
Texas, yeah.
so talented,
Eh
but he does like to provoke sexually, and
Mhm.
so they're a good partner,
Yeah, for sure.
She's got the body yada yada,
Yes, she
so,
does.
but Kendall does too, and, I loved her big wings,
Mhm.
um, but then I'm trying to think of who was after that, I can't even remember now. I had a third, that I loved a lot, but those 2 are my tops.
Fabulous. Those
Yeah,
are good ones. Yeah,
yeah.
but other than that, I mean, there wasn't, like, a ton that, but I feel like that's kind of the case on red carpets lately too, award shows. It takes a lot for people to be dazzled, but it's sort of like the chicken and the egg, what came first? Like, are we just so oversaturated with images that it's less exciting now because we're so used to seeing the live stream and the feed and all of those things, whereas before, we didn't
Everything
have as immediate access, and we did get excited when we finally saw it or it was live on television.
I feel like life was being filmed at a certain speed. And you had a moment to appreciate the images, but it's almost like moving film now. It's like the images are moving so quickly that you can't really get an impression of what it actually looks like.
Mm,
And I feel that same way about fashion. And it is perhaps that everybody feels this way about fashion in the moment, like what really is the style, what will define the style of this decade. And we have to maybe look back with a backwards lens as opposed to feeling it in the moment. But I can't get a handle on really what the vibe is right now,
Mhm.
except that it's always changing and it's not outside of Dior and Jonathan Anderson and in all of his details and Matthew Laze for Chanel. I just don't feel like there's anybody who's doing anything that really is moving the needle.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting to think that way, because I feel like retrospectively, every decade kind of had a defining look or
Mhm,
aesthetic.
mhm.
Surely, of course, if you drill down, there's more beyond that, but an overarching kind of aesthetic for the
Mhm,
decade.
mhm.
I don't know exactly what the 2020s will
And
be.
when we look at the trends, I mean, like, usually you can spot a trend and one that's pesky and persistent and is not going away will end up being the theme. And the only things that are pesky and persistent is this fall into extreme casualness.
Mm, mhm.
And will that be it? I mean, that just doesn't seem like much, but
It's not very
maybe
inspiring. I
no.
hope not. Something better has to come along.
Right? Well, I'm waiting for it. I am waiting for it.
All right, so we have a few more hot takes. We did some hot takes recently
Mhm.
and got a lot of feedback, and it's obviously fun to have strong opinions one way or the other about something. So let's get into it. What items do you think belong on a set of bookshelves? And how do you make it look chic and interesting? Because I think we've all walked into houses and we've seen all kinds of things on shelves that weren't necessarily books. How do you like to style yours?
With books.
Yeah,
Period.
exactly.
Occasionally a box. I'm not one of the people. Now, if there's shelving that is in a entertaining area,
Hmm.
I think that's something different. Then you can have like plates or bowls
Hmm.
or serving pieces or things like that. But even that, I think, can get a little tedious. So you have to be selective in
Hmm.
how you present those. But for the most part, just like we've seen in all these libraries in these castles, I encourage my clients with their bookshelves to fill them with books. I don't
Yes.
know of anything that looks more beautiful than books on a bookshelf. And when you get too many tchotchkes in there,
Hmm.
it just feels like a tchotchke shop to
Right.
me. And the I can't land. It's too busy. I don't like it. I really love old books like the ones that we've
Hmm.
seen. Those are hard to come by. But I do it's shy of that, like in my den. Mine are all just hardbound books. And none of them are fine.
Hmm.
Um, in the den area, and that's a great place for more casual books, but like my whole coffee table book collection and all the novels we've ever read go on the walls. And you can go to libraries often have sales, particularly now as some of them are downsizing.
Mm.
You can get, if you check with your local public library, they will have a book sale where you can just buy boxes and boxes of
Yeah.
books and things like that. You can go to estate sales. They're always just boxes, because particularly with an estate, with an older person, they did collect books,
Right.
like the youngins don't
Yeah.
always do.
No.
So it's a great place to go and collect filler books when
Hmm.
somebody's having an estate sale. So I've been successful with that. I
That's a
just
great tip.
really try to limit the tchotchkes.
Yeah, I don't love a tchotchke, but I will fill in, especially if you have a really large bank of shelves.
Mm.
I'll lean a piece of art.
Yeah,
We'll bring in some framed family photos. Piece of pottery is okay, but you have to be judicious and edit, and it
absolutely.
has to be balanced. And the bulk of it should be books.
Yeah.
Bookshelves are for books. There's nothing worse than walking into a house, and it's usually like something that's been staged for
Hmm.
real estate,
Hmm.
and it's nothing but like random decor objet and like boxes and vases and bowls from Home Goods. Like it just looks ridiculous to
It's
have
like
so many random things and not a book inside.
and something else that I can't get on board with is when you turn them on their spine and it's like too many times you've done that. It's
Hmm.
like you can overdo it. It's like you can overdo anything when you have a stack of 3 books and then a stack of 3 books
It
and a
has, you
stack
have
of
to,
3
yeah.
books. And it's just, like, You can do that a couple of times, but after it's just so kind of, I don't know.
You have to,
I just rather have the books.
yeah, it takes a lot of finesse, I
Yeah.
think, or you just have to be super straightforward with it and
Mhm.
just have books.
Mhm.
Okay, what about mixing metals? How do you feel about mixing metals in a space?
I'm down with it. I think particularly in a kitchen, I will say this. I'm slow to come around to the brass in the kitchen trend,
Hmm.
which I think has probably been around for a decade or more. But I know when I built my house, it was not
Hmm.
because I wanted to put brass in my bar, and I had to buy the floor model because there was not of the sink and the faucet because there was nobody that was making brass at that
Mm,
time. If you can believe that, that was 17 years ago.
wow.
Okay. So this trend has really come into its own since then, probably from makers like Plain English and
Hmm.
Duval that have really advanced it. And they're using hardware much like I bought from Whitechapel to go on my bar.
Right.
Um, that's a lot more accessible. But like I'm working on a kitchen right now, and we do have like a stainless steel stove
Hmm.
with brass fittings on it.
Hmm.
And that's a great place to marry the two
Right.
in one place, and then you can kind of branch out from there. So the
Yeah.
hardware is then brass, and there's some silver tone in there. But the thing about a brass faucet is it's very hard to
It's
clean.
really difficult to live with. So
Yeah.
what we do in kitchens, we mix metals often. I do think it's important to choose the finish for each category, and like maybe there's one thing that's different.
Hmm.
So it wouldn't be unusual for me to put in polished nickel plumbing fixtures in a kitchen because they have a beautiful warm undertone, they're
Hmm.
timeless,
Hmm.
they work well with brass, but they're much easier to live with. You're not going to have water spots like you would on an unlacquered brass faucet. And then maybe we do unlacquered brass on our cabinet hardware,
Hmm.
and our lighting has unlacquered brass.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't mix it up too much. I feel like it has to feel mostly consistent, and there's like one thing that is slightly different but still complementary of the
Hmm.
other finishes in the space.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
I I don't know. I kind of, I'm coming back around to this notion that the kitchen should be more of a kitchen and not an entertaining space. I know that's a really hot take. But I'm kind of feeling that vibe. Like I'm leaning more into let's not have this as our primary entertaining place. And
excuse me.
and I'll tell you another hot take. I love a chrome faucet in the kitchen.
Oh,
Yeah, all of mine in my kitchen are chrome. They are not polished nickel. Everything
interesting.
else in my bathrooms
Mhm.
are all polished nickel, and the door handles and the cabinet, not hardware and all that kind of stuff. But in the kitchen, I have chrome.
Interesting. I'm coming around to chrome. For a long time, I was very averse to it. I don't love that blue undertone in it. And when we bought our house, we updated pretty much every surface. There wasn't anything that we didn't change. We didn't have to move walls, but we changed every countertop, tile, plumbing fixtures, cabinet hardware, lighting, like paint, all the things throughout the house. But then I stopped at the master bathroom because it had been remodeled recently and it was tasteful. And I liked the fixtures, but they happened to be chrome.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't love chrome. I don't love chrome. But you know what? We haven't gotten around to renovating it, and I've
Mhm.
come around to it. I like
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
So
Well,
I think it can be fine.
the reason I did chrome in the kitchen is because my experience with polished nickel is that it cannot take the 409
Well,
on a
no, you don't want to do that on a living finish at all.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, and I need it to be clean, and I need to be able to like clean it all down. So, I mean, you just got to kind of know yourself.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I don't think you would ever. I have stainless steel countertops, and then I have brushed nickel hardware
Hmm.
in my kitchen. So
And it's
all
beautiful.
three of those are coming together. It didn't strike me that that they wouldn't work together. But I'm just a little bit more of a pragmatist when it
Hmm.
comes to the kitchen. I can lean in harder on beauty in other places, but I want to be able to really kill the germs in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. Okay. So recently, I mean, not recently, like the last 10 years,
Hmm.
everyone has wanted French white oak on floors, on millwork. I feel like it's
Furniture.
past its peak at this point.
Mhm.
What do we see? Do you still like it? Do you use that? What do you see as, the next wood finish that people should be looking towards?
Well, I've never veered away from just a classic dark wood, and
Mhm.
I often tell my clients this very thing. The last thing you wanna do is come back in and restain these floors. If you're gonna live in this house anytime, the hardest thing to do, the most disruptive thing that you can do, much more than painting, putting a new roof on,
Mhm.
putting in a pool, it's taking all the furniture out in the
Right.
whole house, sanding the floors down, and changing the stain. So you're much better off with going with something that's more neutral,
Mhm.
and in this case, I see a medium to dark stain
Mhm.
as a neutral.
I do
It's
too.
something that does not speak to a moment in time,
Right.
so that it's neither in style or out of style. And it's a
It's just
warm,
classic.
classic compliment. And don't never lean in on a trend
Mhm.
unless it is a second home.
Right.
Okay, if you're in a second home, the door is wide open. Do it
Mhm.
whatever you want to. You can be a lot more playful in areas like that. But if it's your main home, I say keep it classic.
Absolutely. That's a great, great tip. Okay. Let's see. How do you feel about tapestries as art?
Well, I mean, I've always loved them. They're always a hard sell with my clients. I have two different clients, primarily that were doing tapestries. One of them is actually on the strip with me,
Oh,
with us.
yep.
Paloma knows her, delightful. And
Wonderful.
when I pitched a tapestry, she had the same reaction that my other client that I'm currently working with did. And that was kind of like, I'm not sure. And I get it, I understand. But when you come into these places and you see these
Mhm.
beautiful tapestries, they are so gorgeous.
Right.
The
The
colors and
colors.
the combinations of blues and grays and tans
Mhm.
and chocolate browns and all of this, I just get so taken with them. I
They're
just
beautiful.
find them so beautiful. And both times the clients have gone away, done independent research into it, and come back and said, you know what? I think I do like that. And I'm
Okay.
glad because I really love them. But I don't have one in my house. I would
That's
love
great.
to.
Yeah,
I
I
have
don't
a
either.
perfect place for one, but
Right.
I don't have one yet.
Today when we were at Houghton Hall, I was so struck by that beautiful green bedroom. And I thought it was so cool
Oh,
the way that they
God.
planned those
Yes.
tapestries for the corners. It was a room with four walls, of course, and they had these massive tapestries that told a story. There were four of them, and one hung in each corner, and it was, divided in the middle. It would wrap around
The
one wall
corner.
and then to the next one into the corner, perfectly taut. It was such a beautiful installation.
Oh,
I thought it was so
it was
impactful.
gorgeous. And what better way in these chilly, moist, damp, stone-walled castles to
Mhm.
warm it up and putting I mean, I think that's what they used to do to keep the castles, like the tapestry, the tapa de bayou, and all of those.
Mhm.
Those were created really to keep these cold
Right.
stone castles warm,
Right.
not on the floor, but on the walls.
Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. One other question for you here.
before we have to go, we are
Yes.
dressed up for our black tie dinner tonight in Beaver Castle,
Yes.
and they're calling for us.
Calling for us for cocktails. So, one last question. What skill do you not possess that you wish you had?
Skill.
Mhm.
Hmm. What skill? Well, I really feel like my life would be easier if I was a really quick whiz at social media.
Ah,
Like if I could just whip it out, if I could just pull up TikTok or Instagram and create a reel that was really super fabulous and on point without wasting 6 to 8 hours of my day.
you can hire someone for that.
I know, but I'm a control
I get
freak
it. I
too.
get it. I
Yeah.
get it. It took me a long time to give that up and
Yeah.
like hand over the reins, but
How
I'm
about
glad
you?
that I have. Mine is a much less practical skill.
Okay.
I love music and
Uh-huh.
I feel so moved and motivated and inspired by music all the time.
Yeah.
I feel it so deeply and I love so many different types of music. I wish I could sing because I just
Oh.
enjoy singing. Nobody enjoys hearing me sing,
Well,
but I enjoy singing. I enjoy music that I wish I had a voice to go along with the joy that I feel when I'm listening to it.
but I remember my mom told me once because I was giving her a hard time for singing. She loved to sing. When she was younger, had a really great voice and cut a record and
Oh,
won a
wow.
contest and all
Look at
this kind of
her.
stuff. Yeah. She was like, "You never tell anybody not to sing."
Mm.
She was like, "Because it is something that is like one of the pure joys of being alive, and you should never stop anybody from singing. So, honey, just reach
I
in
love
there and belt it
that.
out. Don't worry what it sounds like."
The next time my almost 5-year-old tells me not to sing
You
along to a
tell
song
her
in
the
the
same
car,
thing.
I'm going to
That's
say that to her because
yes.
she will check me even at her young age. And she'll be like, Mom.
Yes, anybody who has a daughter knows your daughters love to check you on things.
Yes.
So
Yes.
anyway, they have to be checked sometimes too with this brings me joy check.
That's right. That's right. Well, this was so fun. I'm so glad we got to
Yes, I
record in
know.
person and hopefully we get to do it again.
I don't know
It's
if y'all can
beautiful
see how
surroundings.
these fabulous chairs and
Yes, it's gorgeous brocade fabric. It's so
and
beautiful.
it's Beaver Castle, but it's spelled Belvoir, which we
Belvoir.
learned was from Belvoir,
Mm-hmm.
from the French guy who inherited this property, stumbled upon the hill and looked in the distance and said, was it Kel? Is it Kel Belvoir?
What a
Yeah,
beautiful view.
yeah.
But because, the Brits are the Brits and they don't want to give too much credit anywhere to the French, they decided to pronounce it their own way.
It's
So it's
Beaver.
Beaver.
Beaver,
Beaver
as they told
Castle.
us.
Yes.
Just like today, it was the Duke and Duchess of Cholmondeley, which
Mhm.
they call Chumley.
Chumley, which
Chumley.
sounds so much
Yeah.
less elegant, but it's certainly more British.
Very British.
Certainly more
Anyway.
British.
All
yes. All right.
Until
Well,
next time. Bye, guys.
toodaloo.
Okay, guys, that's all the time we have for today. But we'd really love to connect with you. Send us your questions, anything from design to fashion to culture and everything in between. Send emails to questions@theinstallpodcast or just DM us on social at the Install Podcast, at Paloma Contreras Design, or at Caroline Gidier Design. Each week, we'll select one listener's question and feature it at the end of the episode. And if you like the show, be sure and like, rate, and review us. That really helps us get the show off the ground. This is The Install. We'll see you next week.